a little bit because it's going to be you and me a little closer, and then
Gotcha.
Shad right
Gotcha.
into the
Okay,
microphone.
so we
if
are
you could.
on,
I've got Mayor
we are
Deegan
doing
here
video. I
also.
got you. I was thought you
You've
were-
got your own microphone and
Wow.
right there.
Wow.
So Shad Khan, what does that say? What does that mean to you when you look over that, by the way?
Well, never doubt Jacksonville. That's what it means to me.
What do you see?
Well, what I see is an iconic shape that will really define and identify with Jacksonville. You'll see that in the future, whether it's from 30,000 feet or from 10 feet, and you'll know you're in Jacksonville. It's great fan experience, environmentally friendly, and done in a great way for efficiency as well as great aesthetics and fan experience.
I heard you mention earlier keeping the video boards. That was a taxpayer investment. What other taxpayer investments and Jaguars investments, Shad Khan investments will be kept throughout the process so that this is smart use of taxpayer money?
Exactly.
And your money.
Yes, and my money. I mean, that's the great thing with private-public partnership, that, it works great because we're worried about money, period. There are many examples. We're using the lower bowl, okay? Lower bowl, if you had to reproduce it, would be probably 500 million plus. And then look at the environmental damage it does, okay? Concrete is a big polluter, probably one of the biggest polluters in the world. So you're looking at, destroying the concrete, going into a landfill, and then redoing it all over again. Why? So what can be done with site angles and things like that? So, certain, principles about ratios and what have you are classical, going back to the Greek days, okay? And I used the example this morning about the, Roman Colosseum. So we looked at what is good, what is timeless, what can work. And this stadium, even probably 5 years ago, probably would not have been possible. I think the reflective chrome film technology, it's solar, it got developed over the last 5 years, it's proven UV and what have you, where we feel comfortable doing it. If you were doing it metal cladding, be prohibitively expensive. Be beautiful, but just wouldn't be economically feasible.
Yeah, when you look 30 years out, you want your kids, grandkids and whatnot to still be able to see this and feel it and be a part of it, so that we're not needing to spend another, at that point, billions of dollars down the road. How are you ensuring that that is seen through? And as you look to your children and grandchildren going forward, that they're going to be a part of this future stadium and no longer a stadium of the future?
Yeah, exactly. So, it's like, it's hot in Jacksonville, especially in September, okay? And we have to deal with it. So you've got to have a roof, but it's got to be smart roof. You're in Florida, you don't want to be sitting in like a barn that's dark. What's the point of being in Florida? So we have a roof that we can have different gradients of gray. We know how the sun goes above the stadium, and different shading so the people get the shade, but then you also have sun on the field, okay? So you feel you're in Florida. You want to be cool, and the solution, obviously, the South got developed because of air conditioning. So Carrier, when air conditioning got invented in the 20s, is when really South took off. We want people to feel cool and comfortable. Well, we're doing it with the passive cooling, okay? Not using, it doesn't matter how efficient the air conditioners are. No energy involved other than Mother Nature with how the winds move and, go over the people to give them a nice breeze. And a Venturi effect. So, there are many, many other aspects like that.
Have you spoken with Dolores and Wayne Weaver since the vote? And if not fully over the phone, what do you hope to share with them?
Well, what I hope to share with them is obviously, thank Wayne for, trusting me. I think being in Jacksonville is very important to him. I did try him after the vote, but then I sent him a text, but
What'd you say?
again. We did it again. But, you know, so I'm sure he'll call me back and I'll be able to follow up. I'd love for him to come over to training camp and things like that, so he can hang out, so.
Mayor Donna Deegan, when you were talking about the collaboration and the work that happened in making this happen, how hard will you leverage the Jaguars to get everything past the finish line on the remainder of the community benefits agreement?
Well, I think you heard Mark say last night that if this just is only a stadium, we have missed a really big opportunity. Now, obviously, we got the parks included, which is going to be huge, getting those parks all done and paid for and developed. But the fact that we need to invest in the historic east side, which is going to abut the stadium, incredibly important. The affordable housing aspects, the workforce development. I mean, think of all the projects that we have going on in this city that will be going on at the same time as this construction. You've got this enormous undertaking. You've got the riverfront, you've got the Emerald Trail, you've got all the construction going on, and we don't have the workforce here to make sure that we can do all that. So we need to train those people. These are all aspects which make sure that we can lift the entire community. And as Mark said, that's what will make this truly an historic deal that will lift the entire community of Jacksonville. And that's why I believe that the voices from here on the Jaguar side and from our side of the city are going to carry the day, and we will end up getting that agreement across the finish line.
Shad, will you personally get invested in getting the remaining 94 million passed?
I think, you know, Donna, City Council, you know, we're deferring to them. I mean, our part is funding it. And I think as, you know, Mark Lamping has said, I've said, this is a historic chance for the city to really move the city forward. Jaguars being successful without, you know, the city being successful, I mean, that is not a good thing, okay? I mean, we both need to really come off better after this than before. And so I think, you know, it's a big part of it, let's face it. I mean, you know, the glacial pace over the last 12 years, I think I've talked to the mayor, it's been a little frustrating, but it's really good that we finally have a breakthrough here.
I think we need to make the most of that. I mean, that's really the bottom line here, is that we have the opportunity here to think big, to think bold, to really be the bold new city of the South. And we have the opportunity, because of this catalyst that is the stadium, to make sure that we're taking full advantage of that so that everything else ignites at the same time. We've been waiting and waiting for that development to all, and it's because you have to put the pieces together and you have to invest enough in those pieces to make sure that it all happens. And that's really the idea behind this, Rich.
Well, and it's interesting timing because just last evening, Met Park had its open house about the future there, an investment that comes in with the community benefits agreement. You see the cranes every time you come into Jacksonville, probably with Four Seasons. What's the update there? Are you satisfied with the progress to date right there?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I can't wait for it to get done, obviously. So I'm really excited, and I think I mean, and I couldn't really reinforce what the mayor said, that this is a chance the city just can't. I mean, they've got to capitalize on it.
A lot of discussion went into this with what the future of the London agreement will look like.
Yeah.
Once that expires, what is your hope for this team and its continued growth overseas to different markets, and how will the new stadium impact those negotiations and your consideration of that?
Well, I think, you know, it goes both ways. I mean, we want to play there. You know, we've developed a fan base overseas. I mean, if you look at significant number of our hits on the website are from overseas. We want those fans coming here and having an experience. I mean, the Jaguars, the stadium will kind of define the game day experience in a way. So I mean, I'm hoping it's going to go both ways. We can have them here, but we want to grow our fan base. International, you know, part of the Jaguars. I think that's why I've been really delighted. I mean, the mayor going to some of the games, talking to the people, and really getting a first-hand look. We want to help bridge maybe job creation, economic growth in Jacksonville. You know, having a presence, and I think, you know, quite by accident, I eavesdropped on Mayor of London and our Mayor of Jacksonville last year on the sideline. And you know, and it was like, what are they talking about? And you know, Sadiq, the mayor of London, was telling Donna that hey, 10 years ago we had no idea what we knew Florida, we had no idea what Jacksonville was. And now, Jaguars playing here, everyone knows what Jacksonville is. So the awareness, and really, you gotta have that before you look at the mutual opportunities.
How can he eavesdrop, by the way? You knew he was listening.
No, I wasn't, I was walking by, okay, and I see him
Let me-
talking, and
let
I
me-
said,
let me-
what are they talking about, okay?
He can eavesdrop anytime he wants to, but I'll tell you that it's interesting, he always says, and has said repeatedly today, that actions speak louder than words. And it's one of the things that the mayor of London and I were talking about that day, that it is important to put your actions behind these whole, these wonderful visions. Renderings are fantastic. But without the action steps behind them and without some urgency behind those steps, it's not going to happen. And so I think that, that's what you learn from people like that and from people like Shad. I mean, he's pointed out several times today, he wasn't always this great successful business person. There were fits and starts and lessons to be learned, and I think we've certainly had that here, but you've got to keep going, and you've got to believe in the vision for your city, and you've got to take the steps to make it happen. And I think that's what's so great about this partnership.
I'll leave you on this, Shad Khan, as you close your eyes at night. Can you envision the feel, the sounds, the smells, the atmosphere? First game in 2028, what do you feel when you close your eyes at night and think about that? Have you had a chance to think about that since last time?
I think the renderings and 3D, whatever, you can live the fan experience before it happens. And, so I think, that's awesome. I think it's gonna be, hey, it's like you always have to be thinking next steps. I'd be looking at, hey, how is the city better? Obviously, we have a great competitive environment. Our expectation of the football team, we expect you to win. And, every game you go out, we expect you to win. And so all of that, I think the vibe, the feeling, not just for me, but I want the city to feel good, okay? And football, a stadium is just part of it. I think changing the psyche and the self-image and how we feel about it is frankly much more important.
Well, congratulations to you both, and thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. I went just a minute and a half